Hey everybody, Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. This may end up being the collection that weighed the most, that cost the most to get it shipped to me. I think I paid like $199 to get this collection shipped to me, but I am not sad at all because the items in this collection are amazing. Sometimes I get contacted by family members who had in this case, a father who was a professional Boy Scout. And so the lady who contacted me, her name was Sue. Her dad had been a scout executive in multiple councils for a long time, and he's been passed away for a good long time now, and she'd kept all his scouting stuff and eventually was willing to part with it and wanted to find someone who could really appreciate it. We connected through the internet, had several phone calls. Long time went back and forth, her taking some pictures and sending me pictures and stuff like that. But eventually got everything worked out. I was able to make her an offer, purchase the collection, paid for the shipping, and got in these 2 giant boxes. So I hope you'll enjoy this unboxing. There's going to be some amazing stuff in this collection. I already know that for sure. All right, got this first box open. This is the one that has, it's kind of the bulky box. It's not the heaviest, but this has uniforms and stuff in it. So as I mentioned, this guy was a professional scout, but the other really cool thing is that there's items in here from his time in scouting. And I think what some of you may realize is that sometimes guys that are like Super Scouts, Eagle Scouts, etc., they're the ones who went on to work for the Boy Scouts of America and maybe ascended to be scout executives. Same is true of this guy. And I think some of the things in here are original to his days in youth. And there's a couple of things, I think maybe this was right off the bat, that I want to show you that I thought were super cool. You know, with a guy who's a scout executive, you never know what he ends up with. Here's a couple of flags. This one, I know what it is. And I just cannot stop talking about this flag to Sue when I was talking to her on the phone. But let me show you this one. This is a really vintage flag, and it looks like it should be a troop flag of some kind, but there's no wording on it. I actually had one of these, and I flew this at summer camp last summer when we had like a Baden-Powell troop. I sort of used this as their troop flag when we had our Baden-Powell troop. So that's really cool. I like this flag a lot. But I have to say I like this flag more. So this will actually tell us where this guy did his scouting, and some of you will be super surprised to see this. So check this out, y'all. Oh my gosh. This is Queens, New York City, the Sea Scout ship Dixie, ship number 42. Now, I don't know if some of my friends are watching this, but for them to have in Queens, New York, a Sea Scout ship named Dixie, probably back in the 1930s or 40s, is just amazing. I'm like really blown away. I actually think this could be 1930s because of the jacket that is going to come out next. But I think this is just super, super cool. Anytime that you can see that. This star, I think, does indicate something. I believe it has something to do with an award of being some kind of a national squadron type thing, or some kind of recognition. I don't want to put words into the mouth, but this flag is a little worse for wear. There's some things, some holes and stuff on it, but to me, it's just beautiful. And I love that it's New York City, the Sea Scout ship Dixie. So I'm from South Carolina, and so I just get a kick out of that. I'm sorry, whatever. All right, let me pull this guy out because this, I think, is also the piece I was just mentioning. So let's see here. All right, so is this it? Yeah, okay, this is a Sea Scout Explorer's jacket, but this isn't the one that I'm looking for that I think would have been more time appropriate. So this might have been something he wore as an executive. So this symbol right here would have been worn in the 1950s, starting in 58 through the 60s, sort of a circle rocket design. And this is more of just a straight up jacket. Not sure what this is. This looks like a loincloth, from old Indian dancing time. That's definitely what that guy is. There's no indication of where it's from. But again, she was just using this box to kind of put all the clothes in. And so let's see if there's, I think down in here I should be able to find what I'm looking for. Let me pull out some more stuff, guys. Everything's really clean and nice. She did a good job of keeping track of everything. Oh man, there's a lot of uniforms in here, which, I mean, probably not surprising considering this guy was a professional scout. I'm trying to see, since I've already talked about it, if I can find something dark right there. I wonder if that's it. Let me stand up. There's just too much. It's just too much. Okay. Here it is. Okay. So this one I'm pretty sure is his from the 30s, and I'll show you why I say 1930s. So a couple of things on there. You know, this is Sea Scout Ship Dixie, right? So we got to have the New York Council Queens. Now this is a wool patch, which I think that's pretty unusual, but it does match this. So in Sea Scouts, they had the winter uniforms were this dark blue, very obviously matching up with the Navy. So they'd have winter blues and summer whites. And so this was his, sort of like his jacket, if you will. But if we turn it around, we're gonna see some things that are really, really special. So this is a Sea Scout, Eagle Scout patch. So in that program back in the day, you could be, this is kind of to me the birth of senior scouting, which eventually become explorers, and today will be venturing. So in that day, you could have been starting off as a scout, graduating into Sea Scouts. You could still earn your Eagle Scout rank as a Sea Scout. And that's what looks like what this guy did. So I will try to put this under the camera here, and you can see these Sea Scout, Eagle Scout patches are exceedingly rare. And this one is on wool, which again matches everything with this uniform. So that also is exceedingly rare. And the fact that it's well taken care of, there's no moth holes or anything, is just fantastic. The sleeve. The sleeve is what got me so excited when I saw this picture. Now, for most of you, this is not going to make any sense. You're going to be like, oh, there's a little Sea Scout patch and little segments around it. Let me see if I can put this under the camera here and just kind of talk about this for a minute. All right, so what you're looking at under the camera, these are called Senior Scout titles. And when the Boy Scouts started Senior Scouting in 1938, they had kind of an advancement program, if you will, but it was built around merit badges. So each one of these Sea Scout titles, a scout would earn that by earning 5 merit badges in a certain given group. And so you can kind of see here going around how many merit badges he would have earned. And so again, Sea Scouts had their own advancement program. They had quartermaster. Sea Scouts is the oldest of the senior scouting programs that the Boy Scouts of America had. But starting in 1938, they added in blue Senior Scout titles to go with the Sea Scout program to kind of make them a part of everybody else. So the normal ones you'll see sometimes are green because they were going to go on a green uniform. So some of these same ones, like one of these is citizen and one of these is forester, that's seaman. These are the Sea Scout versions of these titles. Now I collect all of these Sea Scout titles, and I can tell you that I don't have several of them on that sleeve. So to me, this whole jacket just kind of becomes a museum piece where it's an amazing example of a Sea Scout from the 1930s, maybe late 30s, could be early 40s. And then here is his patch here, which I think would have been quartermaster, but I don't know my Sea Scout stuff as well. So sorry for obsessing about this. It's just one of those pieces kind of going with the flag that I was really excited about getting in this collection because it's just kind of a museum piece that I can keep together. All right, what else is in the box? Well, let me get through that kind of quickly because we want to go on and see what's in the other box. We have garrison caps, we have lots of uniforms, we have some t-shirts from camps, which, you know, to me, like here's a 1959 camp t-shirt. These things just don't survive. I mean, you don't find camp t-shirts from the 50s that are still around, or, you know, if you had one from my summer camp that I grew up going to as a boy, I would just be absolutely thrilled. Here's a jacket, Nassau County Council staff, 1959. So literally that looks like a camp staff jacket, which I think is super, super cool. I worked on camp staff. I think I'm now up to having worked 13 years on summer camp staff, so I'm definitely a camp guy. I'm currently serving as the camp director at a summer camp in South Carolina. So here's some hats. Yeah, I'm just sort of making a pile over here to lay things to the side. More uniforms, and these are the modern ones that he would have worn in the 60s, probably as a scout executive. So here is one, let's see what council this was. Nassau County Council. Okay, so that matches up with what we saw. And there is his position patch, which is a scout executive position patch. Here is a 1953 jamboree. That's a lady's scarf. That's what they called that. And so this material, you can kind of see there. A little bit of neckerchiefs here, some belts that he would have worn, these professional looking belts. Everything was kept nice and clean, man. She did a great job. Here is another neckerchief there. Oh, neckerchief. Maza Shah is a lodge that went out of existence. I think it was from Minnesota. I could be wrong. Somebody's going to correct me and put it in the comments if you see that. But that lodge merged away and doesn't exist anymore. So that's pretty cool. Again, more uniforms. What is this guy? Lord almighty, that's some kind of... Alright, I just got to show you this because I don't know what the heck this is. It looks like a pair of shorts, but it's made of like super duper leather. And then there's this little stag on it. I have no idea what that is. If anybody knows what that is, put a message in the comments. I'm, stumped the chump here. I'm stumped. So we keep going. More uniform shirts. Most of these don't seem to have very many patches on them. So again, I won't pull them out and fluff them all out for you to see. But just lots and lots of uniform shirts, Cub Scouts, things like that. So looks like she kept everything. Oh yeah, let's see what this is. I was kind of curious about this too. Okay, so this is a green jacket I'm looking at, a green wool jacket. And it's got a Pedro on it, so I'm really not familiar with this at all. Somebody can probably tell me. I know scout executives would sometimes get things like this as incentives, and that's my guess as to what this would be because it has the Pedro from Boys Life on it. It sort of looks like one of the red wool jack shirts, but it's not. It's a thinner, softer material, and it's green, but it is not. It's from Manhattan Sportswear, and it confused me at first because I've seen one of these. The Japanese Boy Scouts actually have a green jacket shirt that looks kind of like this, but that's not what this is. My guess is this is a professional scout incentive for doing some kind of a thing with Boys Life, maybe having a great subscription rate, something like that. Here's another nice red jacket. Let's open this up and see. This is, again, Nassau County Council, 1957. That's a staff jacket. So, all right. I'm going to pause the video for a second so that I can put all this stuff away because there's another giant box to go. Okay, so I've opened the second box and oh my gosh, she shared a lot of pictures with me, but seeing it all in person is quite incredible. There are a ton of neckerchiefs here, and I think maybe at the bottom I can sort of feel the heavy stuff. This was a 49-pound box, so there's just a lot of scouting memorabilia to show. If I can reach in here and grab it, off the top, one of the cool things is there's a bunch of felt pennants, and so my friends, maybe Bill Mulrennan or somebody up in New York would really like to see these 10 Mile River felt pennants come home. This one's had a little worse for wear there, but again, Alpine Scout Camps, Greater New York Councils. I love these old felt pennants. They're just beautiful, beautiful pieces of scouting history and very fragile. A lot of these kind of get chewed up like the one we just saw a second ago. So this guy definitely, we saw the Nassau County Council patch. This one's another one here. Newcomb Scout Camp. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. Some stickers here, and then these are a little more familiar. These are just from Boys Life magazine for having a certain subscription rate. So we've seen those before. So let me gently set those on the ground so we can have some more room. All right, so where to begin? Where to begin? More of these felt pennants. Again, another 10 Mile River TMR. That's the abbreviation there. And these honor unit ones from the 50s and 60s, kind of seen those guys. So let me stand up and see if I could reach in and pull out a handful of neckerchiefs. Wow. Wow. I don't know that I've ever gotten a collection in that had so many neckerchiefs, but that's a great thing. I love neckerchiefs. You know, they're very similar to patches. Scouts back in the day would have worn neckerchiefs all the time with their uniforms. It was part of the uniform. And for almost every event they would have gone to, like a summer camp or an Order of the Year event, a neckerchief would have been issued. Many troops had neckerchiefs that they issued, and so I'm sure in this giant pile, we're gonna see lots of all that. So I know you guys wanna kind of see what's there. What I'll try to do is show you ones that I think are kind of unusual, and then I'll sort of skip past the ones that maybe we've seen before. So there are some more patches like that from 1959 in there. Here's a 37 Jamboree full square neckerchief. That might be interesting to some people. Kind of go through these here. Again, I wish, you know, this is a troop neckerchief. Probably seen that 25th anniversary of 10 Mile River Scout Reservation. There's another one and another one. Then here's kind of a cool thing. I don't know if he would have gotten these as gifts. This is a really nice looking troop neckerchief from Long Island. Here's another one from St. Paul's troop there. Camp, one of the camps that we saw earlier. And then here is an Area 2J. So this is Order of the Arrow Conclave Fellowship. And that would obviously be up in New York. And you can see the lodge totems of the lodges that participated in that. And look at this, there's little jewels kind of embroidered or glued down on there. Here's another 2A neckerchief. This one's from, I think, 55. And then here's some neckerchiefs that might be, oh, here's another 2A. Now this is pretty interesting just because of how old it is. This is sort of an embroidered neckerchief, which to me is sort of stands out, 1953. I think that's really pretty interesting. This one I'll have to kind of look up. This looks a little too fancy. This is a 1955 World Jamboree neckerchief, but the fact that it's a patch sewn onto a satin neckerchief like that looks kind of unusual. And so I'm almost wondering if this, you know, again, being a Scout executive and this having been in Canada, that maybe he had some role on staff or this was a gift or something. I can't say that for sure, but it just doesn't look standard issue. It looks special and I haven't seen it before. Then things like this, Long Beach Council, and then here's a nice, again, 1953 2A Fellowship. Then here is a lodge neckerchief. This would have been a nice jacket patch type thing sewn down on a white neckerchief. And then here's another one from that same lodge, Lodge 25. 10 Mile River, probably gonna see a lot of 10 Mile River, some more stuff. And then here's a troop from Texas, I think. So he really got around. Let me show you this one because this one's really kind of unusual. Camp Glen Gray, I'm not familiar enough to know where that camp is, but just the embroidery on it kind of stands out to me as being kind of special. So let's see what else we got in here. Oh, check this out. So another one here where, you know, my guess here is that somebody must have gone over top of a silkscreen neckerchief and then tried to embroider it in. I've seen that a couple of times. It's very unusual, and I'm sure it was just homemade. I'm sure it wasn't something that was done to any scale, but it is pretty cool to see that. So here's some troop neckerchiefs. It looked like he was pretty serious about getting troop neckerchiefs, which, you know, sometimes those are pretty cool and kind of hard to come by. So Greater New York Council Camporee 51, you kind of get a timeline of when this guy was in scouting. Again, 55 Greater New York Camporee, some stuff here. All right, so again, I'll try to go through here and just see if I can pull out ones that I think are kind of unusual. This one, I have no idea what that was for, but that's a really cool beadwork that somebody did. Again, here's a JLTC, Junior Leader Training Council at 10 Mile River Scout Camp. And there's a Protestant Retreat, plain yellow. Again, more of this where there's what looks to be a silkscreen neckerchief, but it's been hand embroidered to kind of add to it. So don't know the story there. There's another OA neckerchief from up there. All right, here's a little sign of this. So this says 1961 Canada BSA troop. You know, there would have been a lot of back and forth with scouts from Canada coming to the United States. And this one's a camp staff neckerchief. Again, really cool embroidery there. Nassau County Council, kind of matches those jackets we saw earlier. This neckerchief doesn't have any writing on it. Here's a lady's scarf from Philmont. Seen that guy before. This one might be kind of interesting. I'll have to kind of research this. This is Chappaget Lodge 15. But again, so this patch is sewn onto, again, sort of a slick, fancy neckerchief. And I'm sure that up there that probably means something. There's probably a reason why they did that. maybe it was for an event or a NOAC or something, why it was done that way. Let's see what these guys are. This is labeled, okay, this is labeled as Holland, so I wonder if these are ones that he got maybe at some kind of a jamboree. So yeah, probably put them in this bag. I'm seeing names of different countries on those. All right, D2, Happy Chappy Staff, 1959 for the 10 Mile River Scout Reservation. And then Lakeside Staff, so they actually had, within 10 Mile River, it's huge property, they had multiple camps that would run. So this one says like Lakeside Staff, so they literally would have like camps within the camp. And so, guessing that's what, excuse me, a lot of this was. Again, this stuff is very specific to New York, where it looks like he did a lot of his time in scouting as an adult. So really cool stuff though. Neckerchiefs from the 50s like this are hard to come by, and it's just so cool that they're all together in one collection that this guy kept and that his daughter held on to as well. So 1963, all this stuff is really vintage. You know, you look here, just really cool stuff that goes way, way back. Trying to see again anything we haven't seen that maybe stands out, like again Lakeside. So here's another patch from I think 55, and then here's a staff neckerchief and another staff neckerchief, another camp neckerchief. This will be the longest unboxing ever, guys, if I don't kind of get to the point. But again, some of these are really unusual. So like, check this out. There's a 10 Mile River Scout Camp staff headquarters. So wow. All right, what else we got here? More stuff from Nassau County. Camp, I'm not sure of this one. This camp that's a cool looking patch there too. I've seen that guy before. Getting through the neckerchiefs, Now this one's odd. Take a look at that. This is, because it looks like the felt was sort of like, I don't know, that's really unusual. I guess it's sewn on there. I can sort of flip it over and see how it's sewn. There's a patch, and that felt is kind of just sewn on there. I don't know what happened there. That is unusual. This is probably Lodge 24. That's the symbol for Shushaga. That's the Brooklyn one. And more 10 Mile River. Again, here's a 2A conclave. But again, the embroidery. What, I don't know about the embroidery. That's just so different. Here's a really cool camp staff one with the felt patch on it. Let's see what else we got here. District, 10 Mile River Scout Camps. Again, same thing. Like, I'll have to reach out to Bill Mulren and ask him about these, if that's how these were made, because I mean, that looks so professional. That does not look handmade at all. So maybe that's how it was made, and it's just something I hadn't seen before, because I hadn't got a collection from this part of the country. Again, more of these staff neckerchiefs from that area. So just beautiful, beautiful stuff there. And we're still not done with the neckerchiefs. I told you, this is the most neckerchiefs I think I've ever gotten in the collection. 50 Jamboree, I've seen those before. Some of these Greater New York Council ones. Another 10 Mile River. Some of the same stuff here. 10 Mile River. Let you see that. 10 Mile River there. Now check this one out. What is that? The top of the world. What in the world? Sometimes you get stuff in your collections and you're like, I've never seen this, and even looking at it I have no idea what it is. But you know, it's got military jets on it, so I'm guessing there's some kind of a connection to a military troop. And I'm guessing maybe if I did my research here with Nord and Thule and B8 and BW, maybe there's some kind of a tip there. I mean, there's a freaking polar bear in the water. That is amazing. That is just an amazing neckerchief. I have no idea. Hopefully somebody can help me point out what that is. Cool stuff. That's all I can say about this collection. Just lots of cool stuff. More neckerchiefs, more neckerchiefs, more neckerchiefs, more neckerchiefs, more neckerchiefs. My gosh, the neckerchiefs. Wow. Again, exciting. Happy to see it. Love it. Love it. Okay, let's look here. I mentioned that the box was very heavy. I did put off to the side a couple of albums of Scout stamps. Those were heavy. That was part of that 48, 49 pounds. I won't have time in this video to show you those, and I may not be able to go through all these bags, but I'll kind of show you. This is kind of the bag of neckerchief slides. So you can kind of see here that a whole giant bag of neckerchief slides. Most of these are kind of homemade ones, painted probably at summer camps and things like that. Here's kind of what you expect to see with a Scout Executive, a bag of like, you know, camporee patches where you have a bunch of the same camporee. This is definitely a bag of more vintage event patches. And again, just because of the time we're at, I probably won't open this up, but I think this is probably camp patches and other event patches from the areas that we've already seen by the neckerchiefs. Here's a couple of just Boy Scout fiction books. The Stay Afloat one, I'm not sure, that might be, no, I think both of these are Boy Scout fiction, which is old books from the 20s. Got a little bag here, nice little Scout knife in here. I'll just pull that out and show you on the camera. Oh, just got poked by something. That's a nice old knife there. What that is. That is unusual. Take a look at that. It's got a pin there, and then some kind of a stag's head on it. And then, I mean, it looks like almost like a Native American type roach thing, but I don't know what that is. Maybe somebody watching the video will know what that is. No, again, more event patches here. This was kind of interesting. So back in 1959, 1960, this thing of having camporee patches made by this Apache patch company was a big deal. And so a lot of patches from those 2 years, for whatever reason, are made on these woven patches, which I think they're kind of pretty. And there's a whole stack here because, again, as a Scout Executive, he might have been handing them out. So this whole unboxing comes down now to the end. Just one box here. We'll see what's in here. Oh, all right. Some Order of the Arrow pieces. One of my favorites because, you know, I like Order of the Arrow. I was a lodge chief and a section chief and all that kind of good stuff. So let's see what this was. To Lodge Advisor, Order of the Arrow. Since the recent death of my father, I've accepted the responsibility of completing the project he started several years ago. The project was working on was to acquire Order of the Arrow lodge flaps from OA lodges in the United States, make this presentation to his lodge during the 100th year of scouting. Well, that would have been a long time in the future. I, too, am in scouting. I've been in the program for 40 years. During that time, I've served several councils. I'm asking you to help me complete this dream. Can you forward me an Order of the Arrow flap from your lodge? And it's from John. And it doesn't have a date on it. I would love to have a date on it so I'd know when John was trying to get this collection together. But there are some OA flaps in here. Let me start off by looking at these. There's some council strips here, but let me look at these felt sashes. So here is a felt Brotherhood sash. That's a nice one there. And then this is an Ordeal sash. This would have been the old felt on felt. And this one has 3 buttons on it, which is kind of unusual. I guess that was different sizing. So this would have been a sash probably from the 40s, early 30s, and all these felt ones are kind of from that old time period. And then here's a what we call a felt flocked Ordeal sash. So love to see those old ones. All right, let's just grab this little fistful of patches. These actually look to be much more modern than the ones than say the neckerchiefs. So as I look here at these patches, these are all, I mean, these are like plastic backed and much more modern. Here is one that's an older one. There's a shoo guy that's older. But here's a Wapaha that's a woven. Again, going back to that thing I was talking about with Apache. But some of these, like this patch was around when I was a scout. So I don't know who, you know, I don't know where those came from. I mean, there's really some modern looking patches here. Not a whole lot of really old ones. Like there's another one from North Carolina that's from my time period. I've seen a lot of modern ones here. So not sure what happened here. You know, you kind of expect somewhere there would be some old ones. Well, there's an old one. That's an S1 from Powhatan, a merged lodge in Virginia. So they're not all modern ones. There are some old ones mixed in there. But yeah, kind of an unusual way to finish this unboxing, to come across a mystery box of OA patches and stuff where a bunch of it's like really modern, like 1990s and earlier. So, anyways. Thanks very much for watching. I know this was a super long video, but it also was one of the biggest collections that I bought in a long time, and I wanted to document it so that everyone can kind of see the items. Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There you can find my podcast, other videos that I'm doing, my newsletter I send out, and I'd love to connect with you there. Thanks very much.